Job safety analysis.
Job safety analysis, also known as JSA, is a methodology that helps identify the level of risk associated with specific tasks and the controls needed to manage existing hazards. Its main goal is to prevent harm to employees. This evaluation process must be conducted before the task begins, and employees must be informed and trained on the JSA for the assigned activity. Keep in mind, hazards exist from the moment equipment or a production line is installed. A JSA is very similar to a PFMEA. While a PFMEA focuses on identifying potential failure modes in a product, a JSA focuses on identifying failure modes in machinery or production lines, which in certain situations may directly impact the worker. If PFMEAs are critical to understanding product failure, then JSAs are just as important to understand how machinery failures could pose a risk to employees. Yes, developing and communicating a proper JSA takes time, but it's an investment in safety. Some might argue that workers should always be aware of their surroundings and rely on their common sense. But what does common sense actually mean? Is it simply knowing what's right or wrong? And is a 20-year-old's common sense the same as that of someone who's 40? Life experience shapes perception. Depending on those experiences, people become aware of different hazards. For example, someone who has always worked in an office likely won't recognize the same risks as someone who has spent their career on offshore platforms. That's why the JSA exists. To move away from the idea of common sense, every task must be analyzed to identify all hazards and implement effective controls. Avoid surprises. JSAs should be reviewed periodically, typically every 1 to 2 years. They should also be reviewed after any modification to equipment, production lines, or following an accident. Once a JSA is modified, it must be redistributed to all applicable personnel. A JSA should be developed for every activity performed at the company, including routine, periodic, administrative, sporadic, or even emergency tasks that had never been done before. This also applies to contractors performing work on site. Contractor JSAs are just as important and critical, since external personnel may not be aware of certain hazards in their assigned area. Those hazards must be clearly communicated to them. Area leaders and workers must be trained in how to develop JSAs because they are the ones responsible for creating them. Does this mean more responsibilities on top of production goals? Yes. Workers and leaders must be capable of identifying all conditions that could impact them during a task. Why? Because they are the true experts on the equipment or even the ones who develop the process. The safety team's role is to act as trainer, verifier, and part of the JSA approval team. And if you're worried about overwhelming workers, remember this. A JSA is only developed once for each operation. After that, only periodic reviews are needed when changes occur. There are many formats available to create a JSA, and no single correct one. You may customize the format to include the elements you find most relevant. However, every JSA must include these essential sections: general information, company name, date of creation and revision, task or activity name, department or area, name of the person who developed it, names and signatures of approvers, personal protective equipment, PPE. A dedicated section to specify required PPE is recommended. Although PPE is a form of hazard control, it's best practice to highlight it separately at the start. Activity steps. Break the operation into clear steps. Power on the equipment. Adjust machine. Load the part. Start the cycle. Remove the part. Deburr the part. Place it in a container. Hazards. For each step listed above, identify associated hazards. Examples: high temperatures, electrical energy, moving parts, sharp edges, heavy objects, pneumatic energy. Align each hazard to its step. Example for Step 4, Start Machine Cycle. Hazards may include electrical energy, moving parts, particle projection, and noise. Effects. These are the potential injuries or harm caused by each hazard. Examples: burns, cuts, fractures, falls, electric shock. It's essential to distinguish hazards from effects. For instance, high temperature causes burns, electricity causes electric shocks, sharp objects cause cuts. Continuing with Step 4, electrical energy, electric shock. moving parts, entrapment or fracture, particle projection, eye injury, noise, hearing loss. Additional JSA sections: risk assessment, control measures, risk reevaluation, notes or special recommendations. Due to the complexity of the topic, each section will be explained in detail in the specific course on how to develop a JSA. That course will also cover the hierarchy of controls. Please visit our training section to access this module. JSAs are one of the most critical tools in a proactive safety system. Make sure that every task in your company, even those performed by janitors, security guards, landscapers, and office staff, has a JSA in place.